I'm not usually a quitter, but when it comes to jobs, as you may have seen in some of my other videos, I'm a true believer that you should not be staying where you don't think you belong in the long term. Hence the reason for me quitting VC after only 8 months of me being there. Quick disclaimer, things vary greatly depending on the fund you're in, the region you're in, the investment stage that you're working in. So this is all based on my experience that I had in the early stage fund in London. Reason number one, investment stage. I ended up picking very early stage where the companies don't even exist yet, and you're essentially investing in people and their very early stage ideas, which is usually called pre-seed and seed investing. Coming from very analytical and numerical backgrounds such as investment banking, I thought that I wanted to throw myself into something that is very different and on the opposite scale, something that is a lot more qualitative and judgment based. However, I actually realized that I soon started missing a lot of the numbers and any type of analysis that you could do that didn't feel like a finger in the air to me. So if you're thinking about VC as your potential next step or longer term career, make sure that you research different investment stages and think about which one is right for you. This determines anything from how your day looks like, what your day-to-day responsibilities are, to what your pay looks like. Reason number two, networking. This is very much tied to investment stage, and the range of the networking that you do depends on which investment stage you're in. But unless you are in private equity, and probably even then, you are bound to do a lot of networking compared to, for instance, investment banking or any other job. This doesn't only mean networking amongst the founders, but also amongst different VCs, as well as field experts and any potential connections that might give you a new opportunity or a better understanding of a specific sector or field. You really need to have a large social battery and understand how to balance it better with other responsibilities that you have during the day. For me, I generally love meeting new people, learning from them, and developing meaningful connections. But in this case, it became a lot more abundant and probably a bit more that I wanted to fit during my day at a certain stage. Also worth remembering that this is directly related to finding new investments, learning about the sectors that you need to read up on, or finding potential new opportunities and interesting industries. So the networking that you have to do is pretty transactional because you have a limited amount of time and you have to make sure that you prioritize the connections that are more meaningful. This essentially means that you end up meeting a large volume of people, but you need to be able to judge very quickly whether they could be interesting for any future opportunities or potential connections or any other kind of discussion topics. As you see, this is pretty ruthless networking, and this is optimized to basically make sure that you take the most you can from the people that you need in the shortest amount of time. Third reason is teamwork. This again varies depending on the investment stage and the specific fund that you're in, but generally VC is an individual contributor job. You might have some team interactions, especially when you're confirming some leads or approving investments, but at the end of the day, it's very much individual in terms of finding investments, sourcing the opportunities, going out to network, going out to actually do reference checks, and then bring in potentially some of the more senior members at later stages to actually confirm whether your interest is correctly placed depending on what the fund wants to do. As much interaction as you usually have during networking with other VCs or founders, I found that there is not usually much of teamwork interaction, someone to bounce off ideas, potentially strategize about next steps, and potentially decide on the team approach to certain things. Reason number four, short-term cyclical nature of the job. For me personally, VC, a lot like sales, felt like a constant flywheel of finding leads, confirming leads, following up, and closing those leads, which generally is all happening at the same time. And at any point in time, you need to make sure that you have enough leads at each step of the funnel and need to replenish any of the levels that are basically missing and continue that process on an ongoing basis. Even if you're working on confirming a specific investment or closing a specific deal, which usually doesn't take much longer than a few weeks in the early stage, you need to make sure that at every stage of the funnel, you have enough leads to continue the process once that deal is closed. For me personally, that felt very rushed, never committing to a specific project at once and always having to multitask, even though you know that it might not be the priority at the exact same time. So for me, a lot of the times it felt like I'm not focusing all of my attention on the things that matter and contributing enough time to that. Last but not least, reason number 5, limited operational experience. Before I came to VC, I was actually advised to do some work within the company to actually understand how it works from the inside and how the company is actually running from within. My expectation coming from investment banking was actually that apart from working on finding the investment and actually investing in the specific company, VCs are usually very hands-on in trying to help direct the strategy and help on the operational level in terms of how the company is running and wherever the founder basically needs some help. What I actually learned is that that is far less prevalent in VC, since VCs usually invest in people who don't only have that visionary idea, but also they believe are good executionists and have the ability to actually execute on the plan that they have envisioned. So VC expectation would actually be that the founder is the one who needs to know best how to run his own company and then potentially need some help with some hiring questions or broader investment questions as well. Depending also on the fund, some VCs have separate investment and portfolio teams where the investment team actually finds the opportunity, closes the deal, and then works with the founder on higher level tasks such as helping with the subsequent investment rounds, while the portfolio team looks after month-on-month performance of the company, what exactly the numbers look like, what exactly is happening on a day-to-day, and help with some more minor questions such as hiring, finding partnerships, and also helping more in the day-to-day type of operational topics. However, not all of VCs have that portfolio team within their fund. Overall, I think VC is a very interesting career to go into, but make sure that you do enough research on identifying which investment stage could fit your personality and working style best. Start identifying what could be your potential edge if you go into VC, whether it's specific sector experience or potential transaction experience as well, and start broadening your network within the VC and the startup world in general. That will help you to clarify a lot of the nuances and understand the daily work a lot better. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video and stay tuned for more.